I like that last song.
What's that?
I like that last song.
I do too. I really do. Gateway. Gateway worship.
When you go ahead and have a minute. Okay. Gideons 300. I told you last week, I told you this. I told you last week, the story of Gideons the same as the story that Jesus told, that Paul told, that Peter told, that Moses told, that Abraham told. You're either going to believe these promises or you're going to perish. You're either going to believe, was that me? No, I think that was Todd working on something. You're either going to believe these promises or you're going to perish. It's just the way it's going to happen. I preached all last week and I showed you promises. Jesus said, he who has the Son has life. But he who does not the Son does not have life, and he is now, even as we speak, remember, condemned. I don't know why it keeps doing that, because I'm not breathing out right there. Boy, I sure would hate for this not to work, because this is my favorite toy ever. Okay. Thank you for blessing me. I like that. This is a good microphone. Last week, we talked about your need to trust God. I told you a story last week. I told you a story about a teenage girl who believed she heard from God and followed him out into the desert. All day long, following birds. She thought God told her to follow, so she followed the bird. She left the road. She went out on the prairie following the bird because she thought God told her to follow the bird. She got out of her car. She went down to the water. She wouldn't get in, but she did stick her hand in. I don't know what it meant, but I know one thing. That's the kind of faith, the kind of obedience that God blesses. An amazing story. Not one of them old stories, last week's story that happened a week ago, Tuesday. So this week, I told you that it's one thing to say I trust God. It's another thing to act upon it. Anybody say they trust God? I trust the Lord. But does your theology mirror your testimony? Does what you say you believe and know in the Bible, does it actually follow your life? Now that's faith when it follows your life. And God's going to always ask some people to do things that are above the people. The title that I was going to title it was this: when we are at our least, God is at His greatest. We will be at our least a lot in this world, which means God's going to be His greatest for us a lot. You ever heard of Vincent Donovan? Vincent Donovan, that's why I like Wednesday nights, because I don't really have to know nothing systematically. The music's loud, the microphone may or may not work. I don't know what was wrong with it a minute ago. Might do it again, so be prepared. I get to tell all these cool stories. Vincent Donovan was a missionary. He was a missionary to the Maasai in East Africa. Catholic priest is what he was. And he believed, like that girl called him to go over there and talk to the Maasai Indians. Not, Pocahontas Indians, the other kind of Indians. And so he says, okay, I'm going to go. They said, now the board, remember I told you, God doesn't always work in committees. He doesn't need big committees. That's what Gideon showed us. He doesn't need a grand group of people to agree with everything. He needs you to be obedient. He doesn't need to take votes. He just needs you to follow him. Well, the committee says, you can't go over there. We don't have a school built over there. We don't have provisions for you to go. We've not talked it over with the board. What is your missionary strategy? Now, before I get to this next part, that man right there led thousands to the cross. Thousands to the cross. You know what his strategy was? You know what he'd give them for his strategy? What did he give them for his missionary outlook? He said that, I have no theory. I have no plan. I have no strategy. I don't even have a gimmick. I don't even have we're going to go teach the kids and we're going to teach them at Vacation Bible School, it's going to be about Jonah or it's going to be about Christ. He says, I have nothing. Matter of fact, I have no idea what will come of this adventure. I believe God's thousands he led to the cross. You know what his strategy turned out to be? I'm not going to, go read about it. Go check him out, Google and read about it. He says, I'm not going to try to Americanize the East African Indians. I'm not going to tell them about what to do and what not to do. I'm not going to tell them about how to dress. I'm not going to tell them how to worship God. I just want them to worship Him. Thousands. You know what we learned from Gideon? What we learned from Vincent Donovan? Believing that sophisticated equipment and elaborate facilities are essential to proclaiming the name of Jesus Christ, and they're not. God reminds us through Gideon, through Donovan's gimmick-free approach, that equipment is far less important than just trust and obedience. As I, brag about my new microphone, they don't work. I mean, little hypocrisy in there. I know. I was going to say it before you guys did. Equipment is far less important than just following Christ. It doesn't take sophisticated, grand plans. He had no church building. He had no school. He had no program. He had no outline. He says, I have nothing. I don't even know how this deal's going to work out, but I believe God told me to go do it. So let's get to Judges. Judges 7, starting in verse 9, it says, now remember, God's told him to go. God's had them lap like dogs. He understands who he's taking and who he's not taking. He gets the 300 fighting men, sends the rest of them home. Now that same night all that happened, it came about that the Lord said to him, arise, go down against the camp, for I have given it into your hands. So God says to him that night, after the men were separated, the 300, he got all of their I skipped the verse 8, he got all of their swords and gathered them up, and they prayed over them and everything like that. He said, this is who I'm going to send you with. It said God come down, and he spoke to him. He said, I have given something. I have given it into your hands. See, that's why I got a problem with always having to get born again. Either you're born again or you're not. Either God smiled upon you and breathed His Spirit into you, or He didn't. And you don't have to get born again and again. Because I have been born again, past tense. I have. He tells Gideon, go down and check out what I'm about to deliver you into. Because I have, past tense, given you the battle. So what past tense is He giving you? Because we spend a lot of time wanting, we spend a lot of time complaining. Do we spend very much time thanking for what's been given? Psalms 119, 8-9 says, your word, O Lord, is eternal. It stands firm in heaven. An old cliche. An old saying. God said it. I believe it. That settles it. You ever heard that before? Terrible saying. Stupid saying. Stupid saying. Ooh, I thought we like that saying. Stupid saying, Clint. Because you need to subtract the I believe, because you don't have an opinion in that. God said settles it. It's a done deal. It's the providence of God. It's the omnipresence of God. It's the power of God. It's the sovereignty of God. God said it, that settles it. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. It would be prudent for you to believe it. But God said it, and that's it. It's a done deal. I read you lots of them scriptures last week. Verse 10. But if you're afraid, he tells Gideon, who he knew he was afraid because he's been afraid since we opened up the chapter of the book of Judges and Gideon. But if you're afraid to go down, go with Purah, your servant, down to the camp. That's a great point right there. You know what? Jesus always sent them out 2 by 2. You know why? Because 1 by 1 deserts too often. God says, now go down to this camp and spy them out. I've already given you the victory. You've already had victory in your lives. It's already been given to you. Problem is we don't spend enough time finding out what the victory is. He says, but if you're afraid to go down there, take this other dude with you, man. He'll go down there. He'll hold your hand. You'll be all right. We need to alter our current stereotypes about what a servant of Christ looks like. You ever think of that? Gideon was waffling and scared from the very time we've opened this chapter of the Bible, of this book. But yet, God said, I'm going to spare them all. All the Israelites, I'm going to spare by one man. We sometimes are duped, or we sometimes dupe ourselves into thinking that a real servant of Christ is only someone who is dynamic or totally assured, faith like a rock, brash and confident, fearless and glamorous. We need to start maybe thinking that sometimes it's just some cowards that God uses. Do you ever think of that? Hey, if you're sitting there right now and you say, well, I'm a coward, well, God can sure use you. Because he didn't always use just the King Davids. He didn't always use just the Samsons. And that's what's so cool about Gideon. He used a scaredy cat. He used somebody that's afraid. Because I'm going to tell you what, you're listening to God pretty sharp when you're afraid about where he's sending you to go. And it didn't have to be a battle against the Midianites. You want to know what the number one fear in the world, actually, the United States of America is? Public speaking. I'm telling you, I used to drive down there to Los Angeles. Could not read. Would have to memorize what the Bible said, so, because I had me some hecklers that didn't agree with what I said, which has happened to me quite often. I don't know. People just don't hear good. And I used to have to walk in there, and it was just my buddies at first. It was just the guys I grew up with. This dumb as me. They weren't no more educated than me. And like they could have read. But then the smart people started showing up because it got to be fun, and people would go to talking about it. Oh, the smart people, they worry about how you punctuate things, and they worry about how you pronounce things, and they worry about syllables, and they worry about... You know what? And I used to drive it out. Literally, one time crying going down there about the third night. Why are you punishing me? I don't even like these people. I don't even want them in heaven. I can barely take them now. A little young, a little naive. Tina's been to some of them old Bible studies with me. She knows that's how I felt. And I told that guy, I said, hey man, I want you to look up, hey, would you read for me Matthew whatever? And he started looking in the front of the Bible in the index to find Matthew, and I said, oh, I so got him. If you don't know where Matthew's at, he ain't telling me nothing no more. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be unassured. It's okay that God's got it bigger than you can handle, because if you can handle it, what do you need God for? Verse 11. He says, now I want you to go down and I want you to spy the camp. And I want you to listen to what they are saying. So he's telling Gideon to go eavesdrop on the Midianites. I want you to listen to what they're saying. Afterwards, you will be encouraged to attack the camp. So he and Purah, his servant, went down to the outpost of the camp. The Midianites, the Amalekites, how do you do that? And all of the other eastern people had settled in the valley, thick as locusts. Their camels could no more be counted than the sands of the seashore. So he's got this little band of 301, including him. He's got this little band of 301, and he's going down there, right? This is good. And he's going down there, and they said that the tents that was in that valley, thick as the sands of the seashore. But God said, now go down there, because you're going to be encouraged with what you hear. Gideon arrived just as a man was telling his friend a dream. I had a dream, he was saying. Now this is one soldier talking to another soldier that Gideon's overhearing. Gideon and Purah's overhearing. He says, I had a dream, he was saying. A round loaf of barley bread come tumbling into the Midian camp. It struck the tent with such force that the tent overturned and collapsed. Man, that is some good stuff right there. You're thinking, what's so good about that? Oh, that is some good stuff right there. Well, first of all, one side point, who's the bread of life? So who would have been tumbling down through that tent? The Lord had already told Gideon this fact, that he was going to already give the battle in his hand. The battle's already over, you already won, don't worry about it. Now Gideon heard it from the lips of his enemies. So Gideon sits up there and he says, hey man, I just had a dream. I woke up and I saw this big loaf of barley bread rolling down through all these tents, and it destroyed all the tents and wiped everybody out. What do you think that meant? Now that had to be encouraging to Gideon, didn't it? You ever think much about the providence of God? What is providence? Well, providence is the wisdom, the caring, the guidance of God, by God. Providence is the benevolent, all-loving hand of God leading your life. God as a caring force guiding mankind. That's what the providence of God means. So I want you to think of a few things about this dream that these two soldiers had, and Gideon overheard because he was afraid. So he took his buddy down with him. This man should have a dream just then. God being all-caring and all-powerful, this man should have a dream at that moment that he sends his man, his warrior, down to the camp to spy on him, to overhear him. And this man says, hey man, I just had a dream. And Gideon's sitting up there with his buddy. God holds the brain of this sleeping Arab, this Midianite soldier, in his hands and impresses it as he pleases. We call it the sovereignty of God, the providence of God. See, there's this, I don't know what I want to call it. I want to call it something nice so I don't get in trouble. There's this debate about man's own free will. Now, man does have free will. I mean, I do not believe it was ordained by God that I just took my hat off right there. Maybe it was, I don't know. But I do have a will. Does my will ever supersede God's will? That's the question. I'm not arguing man doesn't have free will. I'm arguing this. Does my will supersede God's will? Because God held the brain of this Arab in his hand and he says, hey, here's what I want you to know. I want you to know there's going to be coming a big loaf of barley rolling down the hill, and it's going to wipe everybody out. He gets up freaking out, and he runs over and tells his buddy, who happens to be telling it when the spies are sitting right behind the rock. Because God's omnipotent, all powerful. Unlimited and universal power and authority. You ever saw Aladdin? And the genie comes out? If you've had kids, you saw Aladdin. And the genie said, ooh, I'm the all-powerful genie. Unlimited and universal power and authority. Do you know God like that? Do you know that your God is an unlimited, universal power and authority over everything? See, back to that old cliche, God said it and it settles it. You believe it or not, that's optional. You ever read the Bible and couldn't believe what the Bible said? You ever heard people say they don't believe the Bible? Does it change the Bible? Do words magically rewrite the Bible because somebody doesn't believe it? Jesus said, I, Ageo me, I am the way, I am the truth and the life. No man comes to the Father except through me. Now, there's a lot of people in this world don't believe that. Has that changed? Have you ever looked in your Bible and saw that that's been retracted? God said it, it settles it. Doesn't matter if you believe it or not. In the world of the mind as well as in matter. In the world of your thoughts, God controls it because He's all-powerful. As well as in the world of matter. The world of cars not wrecking. The world of mountains growing and trees growing and fish swimming. In the physical world of matter, God's sovereign, correct? Everybody believes that. He made the heavens. He made the earth, right? You believe that? Do you know that He's God of your mind too? In the world of the mind as well as in the world of matter, God is supreme. God rules. That's what Gideon right now, the book of Gideon is showing us, the story of Gideon. God rules when men are awake. And does not lose His power when men fall asleep. I would really like to tell Daniel something, but he was sleeping. If God wants to tell Daniel something, He'll tell it to him while he's sleeping. God rules men when they're awake and does not lose His power when they sleep. That's sovereignty. That's the providence of God. God does not sleep when we sleep. God's not dreaming when we're dreaming. It just so happened that Gideon was listening. Now think about that. It just so happened that when the guy said, hey man, these Israelites are going to come wipe us out. Who's listening? The scaredy cat Gideon. God rules men's idle tongues as well as their dreaming brains. He can make a talkative soldier into the camp and say whatever he wants it to. Whatever God pleases him to say. Let's look at providence and omnipotent in a different facet, a different light. From a different angle. Why does Gideon go to that particular part of the camp? If he was afraid of the Midianites, why would you go to where they was talking? You're going to spy and see how many soldiers they got, right? Well, Gideon hears some guys talking, and that's where he shows up. Now, if you got a brain in your hand, that'd be the last place you'd show up was where there's awake soldiers, wouldn't you? Having a conversation. Why does he happen to drop on this particular spot? You ever thought of that? Because of God. God, has so arranged. Here's what you got to know. Here's what you got to know about you and your personal life. Here's what you got to know about you and your kid's life. Here's what you got to know about you and your spouse's life. Here's what you got to know about where you come to church. Here's what you have to know about God. This is what Gideon's saying. God has so arranged the whole of history of men that each event occurs at the right moment. Which leads us to, so as to affect another event. Which leads us to, and then affects another event, a third event. Which leads us to, so that all things work together for good. Which leads us to, even for us. Is God a great, loving, benevolent God? That's the question. Because if He is a providential God, then what I just said right there is true. What I just said right behind me is true. If He's not an all-knowing, all-loving, providential God, the providence of God, then what I said right there is not true. But if He is, if He just so happened to tell Gideon to go to this spot because he just so happened to give this guy a dream, so he just so got his friend over there, and he took his other friend Gideon with him so that his ears wouldn't be deceived, he says, go, because I'm going to encourage you by spying on the camp. And what's he hear? He hears God says, I've already given you this battle. Was it just for Gideon, or can it be for Rayleigh? Was it just for Gideon, or can it be for Penny? How about Bob? How about you? How about JC? Do you think God loves you enough to spend His time making sure you're okay? Think about this. And I am, because I don't remember what I put down. Well, let's all sing together, shall we? When the Lord looks down from heaven, He sees us. It's His business to take care of us. It's His business. Quit reading ahead. It's His business. I'll start hiding them. I'll bring them up one at a time. I won't have that kindergarten stuff in here. God is about us. He has enough power to be about you and me. And He has enough power to take care of fish and animals. He's got enough power because He's all powerful. You know how I learned that? When He's taking care of me and He's taking care of Clint at the same time. I said, Lord, if you got enough power to take care of both of us, we gravy, huh? And I meant that derogatory, Clint. In See, we think this of God. We think God's only got one job. I'm going to look down and I'm going to catch Him sinning. That's what God's doing. He's looking down and He's going to catch us sinning. Hey, come Sunday, He's already took care of sin, all right? I've spent months on telling you that. No, He's got more to do than look down. What do you think He went to the cross for? Lady Sunday walks out of church. Stops me at the door, says she wants to talk to me. She's not here, so let's talk about it. She said, I've been studying the Holy Spirit. I said, well, good. And she said, I asked the Holy Spirit, what are we going to do today? And she said, I didn't hear an audible voice, but I heard this loud inside of my head. It's like, I don't know if I've ever heard it that loud before. I said, well, what did he say? He said, we're going to church. What we're going to do today. So she says, I got in my car, and she's from Ordway, and she drove over here to church. She said, I just wish I wasn't such a sinner. And I'm like, didn't say that, but I want to say, did you not listen to nothing I said for an hour up there? But I didn't say that. And I said, here, I got something for you. What's the last words Jesus spoke on the cross? It is finished. What was the it that He was talking about? Everything that separated you from God was finished on that cross. So you can go in peace, sister girl. Because he's got more to do than look down here and make sure that Sean is sinning. You've got Christians that follow us around and tell us we're sinning all the time. God don't need to do that. Oh, sad but true. No, the providential Lord looks down to fulfill your needs, to heal you. Why do we pray if He don't? To heal you, to love you, to care for you. That is what He done for Gideon. When Gideon was afraid to go, know this, it was already set up. It was already over as far as God was concerned. Your salvation is already over as far as God's concerned. Now He spends His time blessing you, loving you, and keeping the boogeyman away from you. That's what He does. Thank God God looks down and sees us. I wasn't done yet. You messed up my ending. Thank God. God looks down. When you're wrong. Thank God God looks down. Oh, that's good. God, you know I love Him. Then you go along with Him. Thank God God looks down and sees us. Because our God loved us enough to send His Son to die on the cross. Oh, He knows what's after you. He knows your foes. He knows your sicknesses. He knows your cancers. He knows your failings. He knows everything. And He works all things. For he who loves the Lord, all things work together for good. The word for doesn't mean it's going to be good. All things work together for good for those that love the Lord and are, like Gideon, called. It's beckoned, summons, according to His purpose. You want a good life? Last thing I want to say, you want a good life? Make sure you're in His purpose and not yours. Amen? Stand up with me. Father, I do thank You that You have called us according to Your purpose.